Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break.
It's time to work on becoming an actor with David Sarcusa. David started his acting, screenwriting, and movie production career in 2021, producing his first full-length feature film, which he wrote, produced, and starred in The Uncivil War, America Divided, with a year of entering the business. And he's the host of Becoming an Actor on the TAN Talk Radio Network. Now, here's your local, not yet famous, not quite Hollywood star, David Sarcusa.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
Hey, good evening, everyone. It is so good to be back in the studio. Although I didn't miss you too much. I was off skiing and playing at Sundance Film Festival. So.
I was going to say, I was wondering who that mystery man is inside our studio tonight.
Yes, it's good to be back home in the studio.
All right.
All right. And I did get a little bit of a throat cold while I was gone. That was a miserable week.
And even worse for somebody who does what we do for a living and has to talk, either as an actor or a radio host.
Absolutely. So it was perfect that we had Lexi Baca and Zachary Vasquez and Kylie Nicole in guest hosting for me while I was gone. Thank you so much to those guys. They did an amazing job. And in the studio tonight, we are going to have Jeremiah Baumbach. Jeremiah is going to be in here, and then he's going to tell me how to pronounce his name. I don't know what's up with the DPs. Always have trouble with your guys' names. Chris McKickney. Anyhow, we're going to have Jeremiah in the studio tonight, an amazing director of photography, had a couple of great DPs that I've had the pleasure of working with. And tonight we're going to get to talk with one of them in the studio. He was working in the area and reached out. I said, absolutely, come on in. So if you want to... and Chris is already commenting. I say your name wrong a couple of times and you're already commenting. What's up, Quest Nation? And so, yes, I have thawed out. God, it was so cold in Utah. Anyhow, I did go to Sundance. And what I will tell you about Sundance is go the first week. This is my free advice to you. I screw up every place I go, at least the first time, usually the second and third time as well. So apparently the first week of Sundance is the best week to be there. That's when everybody's there. That's when all the celebrities are there, all the important people, and then I show up the second week. So go the first week. It's much crazier. It's much wilder. It's much more exciting. That's when a lot of the big deals happen. So, of course, I didn't get any big deals. We did go see a couple of movies. The movie that we saw, I'm not even going to describe. It was awful. It was absolutely terrible. We left after about 20 or 30 minutes into it. And actually, the filmmakers did not show up for the film. So it was so bad that they didn't even show up for it. I won't say the name of the film online, but it was not good. So be there the first week if you're going to Sundance. The place was incredible. Really wish we had been there for the first week. We'll go back next time for it. Speaking of film festivals, this week was also the Dunedin International Film Festival. This thing was awesome. This was my first time really getting to check it out. And wow, what a fantastic film festival. I'm a little bit partial because my business partner, Iris Cookie Reyes, had a lot to do with it. She played a big role in making sure things ran smoothly the whole time. One of the things that I've talked about in the past with festivals, if you're new to the acting world, get to festivals. It really depends on the type of festivals. Some of them do more of just the movie theme. Some of them do more of panels. Some of them do more of an interactive, like educational panels. I got to see the panels that I got to see were really good. It was very interesting to hear from the cast cast and crew of A Taste of Love. That was the one that I was there for. So Martin Kove was there, his son Jesse Kove, both in the movie. A lot of other great actors. Aaron Cahill from the Power Rangers. Of course, Matt's on the phone right now. I'm sure he would be all over Aaron Cahill. Had Martin and Jesse Kove, like I said, Karate Kid, Cobra Kai. They even presented Martin Kove with a key to the city, which I thought that was pretty cool. But you get to being at the festivals, you really do meet a lot of great contacts. You're going there to meet other filmmakers, to see what trials and tribulations they've gone through in order to get their films made. I found that to be very interesting, really at all the festivals that I've been at. You talk to people and you learn just by listening to them. You hear so many mistakes because people love to talk about their mistakes. That is true learning material for you right there, is listening to the things they've done wrong so you don't go out and do those same things yourselves. And then, of course, you listen for the success stories. How did it work? Right now I'm in the throes of distribution, so I'm talking to everybody. That's my big concern. How did you get distribution? How did you meet these people? Okay, it's been years that you've been talking with people. You've been developing these relationships. How do people get someone like a Martin Kove onto their set? And I was talking with some of the people there. Tony Senzamici, one of my boys, an Italian. He was a producer for a Gunfighters deal. Well, of course, he knows Martin Kove and Jesse from a Gunfighters deal, which also shot here locally. That was over in, I believe it was in Hillsborough County. I'm not sure if it was Brandon, Tampa area, but it was over on that side. A lot of great people there. Tommy Rose from Sweet Magnolias with our very own local Joanna Garcia, who I mention every now and then on the show because we love her. Tanya Christensen, The Hate You Give, and my movie, The Uncivil War, America Divided. We had a lot of great dignitaries there. Tony Armour was there, the former film commissioner in Pinellas, and he was also a producer on A Taste of Love. Hi, Marie. How you doing? Marie Cooper. So Tony was there. We also had our current film commissioner there, who I may hopefully have on the show one day, Lisa Doa, French name. Everybody with the names tonight. So hopefully I got that right. Lisa, when you come on the show, you can correct me. But I did look it up online, the French Doa. I don't know. I gave it my best shot. Radar, the Bionic Dog, was screened there. That film had Dean Cain in it. Again, another film that was shot in Pinellas. So both Radar and A Taste of Love shot here in Pinellas. One of the things that everyone said, I heard this over and over and over again on the panel, why did you want to shoot in Dunedin? And Pinellas. And, the funny thing is they talked about it. A couple of the different producers on A Taste of Love talked about it. And they said, we looked all around Florida, and we fell in love with the vistas of Dunedin and Clearwater and just this whole area. And I think that's awesome. That we have that right in the backyard, right here, that we can shoot with. And it does have that Hallmark feel to it. It's got that beautiful look to it that definitely makes it an amazing place to shoot. And I always talk about the incentives. Incentives are huge, so that's a big part of it. Tony brought that to Pinellas, and I know Lisa's working with that to continue that here. And let's see, what else? So the festival is fantastic. If you didn't make it out this year, please make it next year. It's getting bigger and bigger every year. So plan on getting tickets for it next year earlier. Do not wait till the last minute. So congratulations to Cameron, her entire committee. They were a fantastic committee from what I could tell. And I wasn't there the whole time because, again, I was sick. I was trying to get back in time for it. But one of the things, hey, Lexi, thanks. Welcome back. Appreciate that. It seemed like they did a really good job of making it flow very smoothly from panel to panel. So great job to everyone there. I was not on set this week. That absolutely kills me. And the reason it kills me is not only because I love being on set. I love every time you're on set, you get to meet someone like Martin Cain or Terry Keisner or one of these amazing people that shoots locally in our area. Not only do you get those incredible experiences, but I get incredible show prep. And I was not on set this week. And that makes it really tough for me because I'm driving back from Utah, from Park City, from Sundance. And as I'm driving back, I'm trying to think of what do I need to talk about on the show. And I'm thinking, okay, I've been gone for 3 or 4 weeks. I'm going to have so much stuff to talk about. And believe it or not, I was really drawing a blank on a lot of things to talk about. And that's because I was not on set. And I'm telling you right now, that just validates it for me that you have to get on set, because every time I get on set, I come back off set and I say, man, I blew it. I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have. And that's because you're learning. Because the next time you get on set, you know you're not going to make that same mistake again. And if you do it again, you know you better not make it the next time you get on the set. Because that is the whole point. You get on set, you see what people do well, you see what people do wrong, and you learn from it. And now, one thing I did do, even though I was not on set this week, I took a director's course last night. I'm working a lot more on my directing skill. Nothing to worry about, Andy Huff, the director for my film. I'm pretty sure your job is safe, but I'm having a lot of fun with that, and I'm learning. And so I'm watching this video last night, and a lot of this stuff was really good. It was a basic course, though, and so I'm going through it, and I'm kind of, hitting myself on the shoulder. I'm like, yeah, I get that. Okay, yeah, I know that. I know what she's talking about there. And one of the things that she was talking about was using the different levels to show different aspects of, you don't want to just have it flat. Yeah, come on in, Jeremiah. You don't want to just have it flat. You don't want to just be staring at a blank wall. Just grab a seat here, put some headphones on. So you don't want to just be staring at a blank wall. You want to do things. You want to get dirty over the shoulder. You want to put other people in the background. You want to have all these background actors and all the different things. I'm looking at it. I'm going, okay, yeah. One of the things she talked about, though, was her thing is we'll jump in with you in a second here. Yeah. Jeremiah, you always look so serious, man. All right, we're going to have fun with Jeremiah in a second. He just got here. He was, like I said, he was working, so I'm very lucky to have him in the studio today. One of the things this director was talking about, though, was she said, I like to get them talking about what did they have for breakfast? Because for her, the whole thing is she's trying to get this natural conversation, and she wants the actor to speak in their natural voice. Yeah, I get that. I see that. She wants the loosey goose. She wants that actor to be themselves. But there are a lot of times when, I'm sorry, you are acting. I play a lot of characters that are not me. I play angry characters. I don't think I'm a very angry guy. Do I seem like an angry guy?
No.
Not at all. Not at all. So I think I like the idea. I like the technique. My point is you've got to look at these classes. You got to learn from them. And everything that they say is not gospel. Do not believe and take everything they say as gospel. Take what you like from it and use it. And then the rest of it, just keep it in the back of your mind. All right. Now, talking about an amazing mind for film, Jeremiah just walked into the studio. And first off, Jeremiah Bumbach?
That's correct.
Bam! I nailed it. Why did I second guess myself? That's ridiculous. So, all right. Jeremiah, tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Well, I've been in the industry for, in May, it'll be 25 years. I've been nominated for 3 different Emmys for my cinematography, that kind of work. I have a studio in Orlando with another partner, Mark Russell. It's called Iron Pixel Studios. We have studio space with it's about 2,800 square feet. We have a podcasting studio, and we have a sound stage. We have edit bay, whisper room. So we've got that space there. And I also have a 3-ton grip truck. So I got a lot of gear. And that's what I do. I do commercial work, I do corporate work, and I do narrative work.
Awesome. Sounds like I'm moving to Orlando, Matt. I'm going to get a better deal over there. Going to do some podcasts over there. So you guys won't miss me. It's no big deal.
That's okay. You can do both.
I
There's
can do
always room
both.
to do
All
both.
right,
Come
well-
on now. We can share.
We'll do both. So that my main reason for having you in here, Jeremiah, is I want to hear about the DP side, the director of photography side. Is that your main thing?
It is currently my main thing.
Currently?
Yes.
I mean, 25 years. You've been doing it a long time, so you can kind of go in and out from different things, right?
Well, I've done some producing as well, and I'm moving more into directing in the near future. The thing with being a DP is, you're really in service to the editor. You're doing everything for the editor to give him or her what they need to put something together.
What about the director? I thought the director...
Well, sometimes the director
Look at him choosing his words
doesn't know
carefully. I love it.
exactly. It's like sometimes you want to give them options. It's like, and that's kind of your idea to be there with the director. And they go, well, this is what I want. I say, okay, that's great. Let's do that. And let's also do this. And they go, oh, that's a good idea too. Let's do both ideas.
I mean, it's a partnership, right?
Yes. A lot of times in Hollywood, they'll get like a young and up and coming director, somebody who's, late 20s, early 30s, and they'll put them with a veteran DP, somebody in their late 50s or 60s that goes, okay, I've done a lot of this. I'm going to steer you in the right direction just in case you're getting off track. Because you do need enough coverage to get a scene done, unless you're specifically going for a oneer, which is, if you're doing a oneer, it takes...
What do you mean by a oneer?
Just a take that's just... There's no cuts. So the whole performance has to be done flawlessly. That's both the talent and multiple people, of course, in the scene. All of their performance has to be perfect. The camera is most likely going to be moving in a oneer. It's not going to be a lockdown shot. The camera, maybe it's on a gimbal or a steady camera or a dot. The camera is going to be moving. The focus is going to be changing. So everybody involved has got to nail it. And it's great when it happens, because, wow, we got a scene that's 8 minute and a half, 2 minutes. We knocked it out. But everybody's got to be on top of it.
Now, I'm sure that's probably a lot easier if it's a dialogue heavy film versus action where you got people all at the same time moving in and out of camera frame, or no?
I think it's easier. Second example you gave, when everything's moving and changing,
Really?
That's kind of the magic of movie making, how much stuff you can hide. Because the camera's floating around, it's moving around, people are moving, they're doing the blocking and the business, so, and you just kind of get sucked into it. And I think a lot, gets hidden in all that motion.
Gotcha. Now let's go back, because this show is mostly geared towards beginners. Okay. So give me your best. This is what a director of photography should be doing. This is what the director should be doing. This is how they work really well together.
Well, it starts early. It starts before you're on set. You want to give the DP the script early on, as they just get an idea of what we're doing. You mean like, okay, let's read this. And then, you kind of come back, you bounce ideas, you make suggestions with the director. Go good. You send them pictures. You could send them other video clips. And the director said, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I like. Say, okay. So you work together and you kind of come up with, the director comes up essentially with the shot list. Like, these are the shots I envision to get this done. This is the vision I have to tell the story. And the DP's like, okay, this is how we can execute this. Or sometimes the DP's like, okay, this is great, but let's add to this. Let's, or maybe they say this shot list is too much. It's too much. So let's consolidate some of what's on this. It's like, what do we really need? So this is important. This is important. This is important.
And who's deciding the equipment that you're using there? The cameras, the lighting, is that getting outside the realm of the DP and the director, or are you still?
It's very tricky. It's very tricky because some people, they'll say, this is the camera we want to use because we've heard it's good. We've heard this camera's good. So we have to use this camera. And 30 years ago, there weren't a lot of options with cameras. There were not. Like a Sony Betacam, a guy would pay $30,000 for a Sony Betacam, but he would use it for 10, 12, 15 years. And it's like, that's the camera you used.
It was a workhorse.
Yes. But now there's so many different cameras and brands, and we heard this one's good. We heard that's good. So it's like, all right. But a lot of times, like, what kind of project are we doing? Sometimes having a smaller camera, a smaller footprint can help you move a little faster. So it's sometimes like, this is and then what's the budget? That's the real question. It's like, we want to use this. Well, then they say, well, this is the budget. That's the camera rental, but we're also going to need to rent the lenses and batteries, and they go, and the car. It's like, oh, how much? Okay. What other options do we have?
Yeah, I remember that discussion. We got to get lenses. What? And when I was producing my film, and I said, and lenses cost how much?
Oh yeah.
That was a shocker. So now, how much pull and give is there between DP, director, and the producer or executive producer?
Oh, I don't think that. I think the executive producer says how much, right? The producer, they probably have gotten an impression like, I've used this and this movie turned out good or whatever. But the director and the DP is like, this is the budget. This is what we have. That kind of thing. They would work it out and say, this is what we have access to, and this is what's in the budget. All right, this is what we can work with. Of course, no joke. You want to use the best cutting edge stuff. It's just going to be smoother, faster, work better. That's it. The movie's going to look a little bit better. Which you got some newer stuff. It really is. But then also there's a learning curve with that, and on set's not the best time.
Right. Yeah. Now, how many cameras would you say that you personally are comfortable with, that you like working with?
Well, cameras are kind of simple in a sense. It's all about getting exposure and focus. When you get a camera, you go, okay, you get into the menus and you say, okay, well, how do I set my frame rate? Okay. And then it's like, how do I adjust my iris? How do I adjust my shutter speed? How do I adjust my white balance? Does this camera have ND filters on it? And where's the peaking and the zebras to dial in my focus and my you go, okay. Or the histograms, like, okay, I know. And most cameras, honestly, they're based on that Sony Betacam style. The buttons are all in the same places across different camera models. So they're all kind of designed the same way. It's like, okay, the switch is here. Where is it? So once you know how to get the exposure and, some features to help you with focus, it's like, okay, well, let's go.
Okay. So Jeremiah just lost about 90% of my listeners, I think there. That was a lot of stuff. Basically, what you're saying is you got to get comfortable on the cameras, but a lot of the cameras, it's kind of universal across them. It's just figuring out how to use them.
Yeah, it's like getting in a car. It's like, okay, you're like, okay, I'm in the car, but which side's the gas cap on? You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty simple. Once you know, when you say, well, I need to change these settings, where's the features to do that? Where are the features to do that?
Gotcha. So I have an electric car, which is a little different for most people than everybody drives the gas power. And I'm kind of the freak. So sometimes when people get into my car, it's a little different and it takes them a second. But once they kind of get the idea, then they're good on it. Are there a couple of cameras out there that are kind of like, they're just kind of out there that you tend to stay away from? No, they're all pretty standard, pretty easy. Good. All right, so let's get back to it, because I didn't really get too deep into the what do you see the differences between the director and the director of photography and how they work together?
Well, the director should be working with the talent, coaching the talent, talking to them about the character, and kind of going over the blocking with them, like the blocking in the business. Like, okay, you're going to stand here, and then you're going to fold this T-shirt, and then you're going to take that T-shirt and you're going to walk over to the dresser and you're going to put it in the dresser. And as you do, these are the lines, we want you to hit these points. And they're talking to them and they're working with that. And then the camera crew is, moving the lights and go, okay, this is the move. Okay, we're going to go from the dirt, all the clothes on the bed, they're folding up. We're going to do a dolly shot, real simple, it's a slider. Let's slide over to the dresser. They put the stuff away and then they, walk out of the room from the doors there. That's the shot. Okay. That's the coverage we're going to get. But then you have to understand the movie is what the camera sees. So a lot of actors, they're acting, but it's not a play. So it's like, I know that there is a camera in this room. It's wide. But like what a talent should do right before the take, maybe even in rehearsal, they look at the cameraman or the camera woman, who's ever buying the camera, and you look at them and you kind of like touch your chest or your shoulder, your hip, you go, what's the shot? And they'll look at you and they go, oh, it's this. And you go, okay, so I have to act small. If it's your head and shoulders, you can't be super animated because you'll go out of focus if you lean too forward or too far back. If it's a wide shot, say it's a wide, I see you from head to toe. Okay, you can act big.
Right.
But an editor might take a performance that's good, but if it's out of focus, it's like, this isn't gonna make the cut.
What's the toughest part for you as a DP?
I think the most important part, I don't say the toughest part, is just being organized and saying these are the steps we want to have a plan. Mm-hmm. You want to go into a project with a plan. It's very difficult to wing it because let's say a 10-hour day, if you waste 5 minutes an hour at the end of the day, you're out an hour. You've lost an hour. And a lot of shoots, it's never the beginning of the day where there's panic. It's the end of the day. So if you can save 5 minutes an hour at the end of the day, hey, we made up an hour. We got a little extra time to finesse it because it's always the end of the day where things suffer, unfortunately. And sometimes scenes aren't scheduled, I don't say right, but like, oh, wait, the last scene of the day we're shooting is the first scene of the film. And that's what we're going to kind of compromise on, which is not what you want to do. You want to make sure that first scene really grips the audience. And the last, you got to massage a little in the middle, but definitely that first and last scene. Or an emotional scene. Like if it's like, okay, we saved the emotional scene for the end of the day and we've got to get this done in 50 minutes. It's like, that's not what you want to do.
See, I like that. You said the first scene, that's the one you get. Well, and then the last scene, and then the emotional scene. That was me when I was doing the executive producing side of Uncivil War. And they say, okay, the most important thing is you got to get a good camera. Well, okay, and then you got to get really good lenses. Oh, wait, you got to get really good sound. Everything, it slowly becomes everything is important because it's a 90-minute movie, and you do have to hold them the whole thing. But I get what you're saying. You definitely have your peaks and your valleys in the movie, and you want to make sure your peaks are the shots that you are not leaving for we may or may not get this scene done, right? Yeah. So
I'd say, in order of importance with gear, I'd say sound, lights, camera.
Sound, lights, camera.
Oh
Really?
yeah. You can take about it. I mean, you can do a great job on your iPhone. Let's be real, but you got to have decent, you light it, you need to have lights because shooting in low light, no light, it's looking dark and muddy. So if you have lighting, you can make a moderately decent camera look great. Lighting is the real magic of movies. Sound is bad. People will tune out. You'll look and you'll sound amateurish. Like, I don't understand what the characters is. Sound is terrible. So sound is the number one red flag for amateur production. So good sound followed by lighting and then camera, technically.
Well, there you go. You heard it from a camera guy that lighting and sound are more important than the camera. And that's because you're such a good DP that you're going to make everything look good as long as they got the good sound and lighting, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Audiences won't forgive bad sound. They won't. They'll turn it off.
And I think it's funny. We've all seen the movies with bad sound, with the bad lighting, the low lighting. I'll watch a lot on my phone, which is horrible, but I'll do that. And if there's any sunlight and it's a low light film and now you can't see what's going on are the characters there? Aren't they? God forbid it's an actual action scene or something and you can't follow. It's brutally awful to try and watch something like that. So I certainly get it with the lighting and the sound. And of course on set, the ones that are usually made fun of the most are lighting and sound. Holding on sound, everybody hears that on set all the time.
Yeah. There's some, honestly, as a filmmaker, sometimes there's like noises and stuff. It's like, okay, look, we might not use this take. We've done multiple takes. You could dub this guy's line from another take. It's a little bit of work in post, but it's doable. Then you add sound effects and music, and all of that stuff gets buried. If it's bad, if it's real bad, like a siren, it's like, okay, let's wait. Or a Harley goes by. If there's somebody weed whacking way off in the distance, AI is pretty incredible now with sound. AI can, you can really clean stuff up in a couple clicks. But I think sometimes like, okay, we're holding on sound, I think, and it's not. I think we can roll on this.
So it's the most important part of the film, but there are times when
I think it's like we're being too careful. It's like I think we could roll. Because by the time you do the slate and you get out of frame and they start acting, it's like, if you're underneath of a tin roof and it starts raining, it's like, okay, we're done.
Right. Yeah.
We're going to dub this scene.
Yeah.
Then that's just what it's going to be.
Sounds like you got hand grenades going off or, machine gun fire or something going on. So, all right. So you've been doing this for 25 years. So for you, this is just old hat. But did you go through technical training? Did you go through college?
I went to University of Central Florida, class of 99. I went to film school.
Charge on nights. My boys. Go to UCF. So,
school. Here, I did take a look at the questions you asked, and there's something I'd like to say about film school per se. There's a couple things you do get out of it. You get access to gear. You get access to tools and you also typically get access to a studio space, and you get so you get to touch the gear. You get to handle the gear, and unless you're independently wealthy, you just can't get your hands on all that.
That's great because most of the time you hear, the school, what a waste. So it's good to hear that.
You get the gear.
Okay.
But here's the thing. If you are independently wealthy and go, I'm just going to go make my project, there's something you don't get that you do get in school. And that is criticism and peers. So you're going to go to the film program per se, and you're going to meet other people who have a similar career interest as you. You're going to get to meet those people, and these are the people that are going to get you a job. The people you go to school with, they're going to get their foot in the door somewhere and go, hey, I heard about such and such. We're looking for somebody else to do this on a job. You know anybody? If your peer is good at what they do, they'll say, we like you. Do you know someone else? So if you're just independently wealthy, you don't have those peers. You haven't got that network. And you're also going to get criticism. because I've worked on some stuff. Let's call them vanity projects. Some people go, hey, I want to make this project. I want to star, write, direct. I want to do the whole. I'm this, and it's like, okay, but they don't listen to the criticism. Also, because they have got the purse strings, so it's hard to say, okay, you're in the right direction. You might not be on the right path. So in school, you do get some of that reality check, and these are people that will say it to your face.
Right. Yeah.
And because you can go post your stuff on the internet and strangers will comment on your work, positive and negative.
Right.
But you really don't have any kind of rebuttal with them. You mean? But when you're with people and they go, okay, this is what I see, and you go, okay. And it's a little bit, it can be sobering. It's like, okay, I got to, step up here. And then you also look at other people that you hadn't worked with yet and you look at them and you go, oh, this person, they're good. They take it serious. And you want to align yourself with those other people. You don't know who at first because you're all in there together. And then you start to kind of figure out who's serious.
So did you get kind of like a little cadre from UCF that over the years?
Not as many as I wish. I was I was pretty independent. I worked with a couple guys and I could do everything. I could shoot, I could edit. I knew how to get good quality sound, but I did much more solo and siloed projects. And once we graduated, this is like I said, 25 years ago. And Nickelodeon was in Orlando, and maybe two people got the foot in the door with Nickelodeon. And then they said, hey, we're looking for other people. And I was not as in tight with that circle. And I did not get a job at Nickelodeon. I got other jobs, but a lot of them took like literally a step out of school and boom, they were at Nickelodeon.
And they had the connections.
So that's something you can get in school, but you also got to volunteer and say, I'm going to learn to work on this person's project and that person's project. And, when you're in school, that's an opportunity you have. And there's the Orlando independent filmmakers. I don't know if they're also in Tampa now. So I don't know.
OIF, yeah. OIF.
I don't know if they've changed the name to.
No, that's Orlando International Filmmakers or OIF.
OIF, yeah.
It's OIF as well.
But that's a great place to experiment. Mm-hmm. They have film challenges, and you can join a group as crew or cast, and you can kind of jump around and work with other people and you can get a network that way. It doesn't cost anything but time,
right?
But you can. You get some experience that way.
And I believe you actually worked on an OIF challenge.
I didn't know that till like the second day. I was like, oh, this is for OIF? Yeah, and I had done some. I had done some OIFs previously, but I just thought that it was an independent project they were doing. I didn't know it was for a contest.
Independently for OIF. Yeah,
I did not know. It was very ambitious.
It was very ambitious.
Very ambitious for an OIF.
Yes, that was that took on a life of its own and is continuing to grow. So, but that was a lot of fun. So. So I was going to ask if you think the formal education is necessary. So it doesn't sound like it's necessarily necessary, but can be extremely helpful.
Well, here's the rub. You can get access to gear. You can network with peers. You can get criticism. And you can get a degree. I mean, that's a piece, that helps some places. Oh, I went to school, But you have to be very careful about the cost, the price. Because it's not, I went to school 25 years ago.
Right.
It's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
So you got to be real careful about the price you pay for education.
Yeah, that's the formal education discussion overall these days. Yeah. I don't care if you're going to get a film degree or any kind of degree. I went and I got a history major, and my parents probably wanted to kill themselves because they're like, history guy, you're killing me. Why are you doing with this? And I always tell my sons, I got a job at Tampa Catholic. I showed them that degree the first day I walked in. They said, okay, yeah, you're qualified, you're hired. I never used that degree again once after that. Never again, because then I was my own business owner after that. So what did I need a degree for after that? So
Yeah. So you can, and I'll say for talent or for crew, you could, for crew at least, you can get on YouTube, watch tons of tutorials. So much you can just learn online for free.
Right.
I'm sure, I never looked it up, but I'm sure you can look up all kinds of acting classes online, all kinds of acting techniques, which you have to practice. And maybe for talent, doing local theater and like these local independent films, you're not going to get rich. You're not going to get rich, but you can get out there and experiment, get experience. And that's what the person hiring you is looking for. Experience. Right. What have you done? Because a piece of paper that's just a ticket in the door. You know what I mean? Like, okay, now you're here. That's just to get an interview. What have you done? Show me what you can do.
That's great. Yes. Yeah, my dad always says, "What's it take to get a small fortune in Wall Street? Start with a big fortune." Same thing. If you get a great film, start with a big fortune, and it'll be much smaller by the time you're done with the film. So it'll cost you a fortune, and most of them are not going to make money.
You have to, but you can enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's funny, the experiences, especially on a feature, just because the days are so long and there's so many. The experience on a feature, I'd maybe say this more for crew than cast, because cast isn't there every day. But there's a whole story behind the movie. What's going on, what's this, what's that, challenges faced, and so on and so forth. And you really find out who's got it together.
Yeah. And I think what you were talking about with the beginning of the day versus the end of the day, I think anyone who's been on a film set has seen that. Everybody shows up in the morning, everybody's kind of half asleep, and you get together and you got the safety meeting, and it's like, we're going to have a good day out there. And then everybody moseys on over to set, and, and then the day starts to get going, and then everybody starts to ramp up, and then you try and get back after lunch and the same sort of malaise from the morning. Oh, and then by the end of the day, everybody's like, oh my God, we're never going to finish this on time. And everybody's running. And then, the safety meeting is out the window, and you're not supposed to be running on set. Nobody run, everybody walk. And so I think we've all been there.
And I understand like the patience the actors have. It's like, we're going to get to you. We know your scene is coming up. We're aware, and we're taking our time with what we're doing. And we want to take the same care and attention to detail that once you get here, we're going to give it to you.
Right.
We don't want to rush you through, but we want to get this done. Then we'll move on to you. We're going to get the best coverage of your performance as we can, and then move on to the next thing. But
that's a great point for the actors and background, especially because there's so much time sitting around. There's so much dead time. But know that there's 50 billion things going. If you haven't been on the crew side, there's so much going on the crew side that as an actor, you probably are not aware is happening.
But when we say we're ready for XYZ, you need to be there.
You need to be
because,
there.
Because, like I said, you're trying to save 5 minutes an hour, and you're not the only one on the scene. So your scene partner might have, disappeared. You mean, where'd they go? Oh, they went to get a phone cable to charge their phone. Okay, where'd they park? Oh, I don't know. And it's like
out there somewhere.
Yeah. So it's like the miss, and it's like, do I have time to go to the bathroom? It's like, you had 4 hours. Why don't you act like you don't have to go to the bathroom?
There you go. Always blame it on the actors. Waiting on sound. What happened to waiting on sound? Okay. So formal education's easy to get. You just have to have a bunch of money and sign up for it and a whole lot of time, right?
Yeah.
But to get on set sometimes is more difficult, especially if you don't have experience. Let me ask you this. Do you ever take proteges, or do you ever take anyone, or is it you just don't have time when you're in the thick of things?
In the thick of it? And no, I don't have time to teach. I have taught. I actually taught for about 18 years, technical side. If somebody wanted to learn, I could teach them. Like, this is it. But there is something, I don't know how to say this. You have to understand filmmaking. That's what it all comes down to, because you have to understand like visual literacy. And I see it not in your head, but I'll give a brief example here. It's not hard. If you turn the sound off in a movie, you should be able to tell what's going on. You should be able to follow the story from the way the images are captured. So if you say, okay, well, this person's supposed to be alone, they're lonely. You say, okay, let's shoot a real wide shot and they're walking across a field. You know what I mean? This person is emotional. Get a real close up. You know what I mean? To show their face. You kind of like look into their eyes, what they're thinking. So you want to understand that visual literacy. Just go, okay, what is the scene? What's the scene about? Who's the scene about? What's the emotion? And say, what kind of coverage will we get to tell this story? So you learn that kind of visual literacy and go, okay, now the technical stuff with the camera is pretty easy. It's just like, where do I put it? Where do I put the camera? What do I frame to make it engaging and interesting to the audience? You know, and sometimes it's difficult for the talent, because it's like, well, this is important. This is the important part of the scene, is your emotion. So it's going to be a close up. So you can't, like I said earlier, you can't move around a lot, because we want to hold on this shot of you, or we're going to dolly in real slow. But when we dolly in real slow, we got to roll our focus. We have to nail this technical thing. So there's a level to it.
Gotcha. That's great. I love that. Let me ask you this. Do you try to always work with the same crew? Do you try and get a feel that you're always working with the same people, so you know this person's always going to be here, that person's always going to be there?
I would say, I'm not going to say yes to that, but there is a level of familiarity comes with. I have a couple people I work with, one guy in particular, and if I say, it's Sean, a guy named Sean. If I say, hey, Sean, I need that orange filter for this old digital juice light. I need it. It's in the blue bag. I know where it is. He knows where to find the bag, what pocket it's in, where to get it. He knows to bring it to. So he knows my gear very well. And I worked with some other guys, as guy Graham and the guy Emmanuel. We've done a lot of shoots. We've done a lot of traveling. But Graham recently worked with me on a feature we worked on together. And we've shot enough stuff together. You can get kind of a secondhand language with some, hey, remember we did oh, yeah, do that again. So when you work with somebody new, it's like, okay, we gotta get our own language going. But sometimes you get somebody new and you go, wow, great.
It kind of breaks you out of the mold a little bit.
Yeah,
You've gotten used to doing some things.
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought about that. That's great. You kind of play off of each other. I can
it's
see
like
that.
nothing would make me happier than to say, oh, that idea is better than mine. You know what I mean? It's like, let's do it. And I'm very open to input. Something I would say, if I say, hey, look, everybody, we're here on set. If anybody has a suggestion, speak up. Speak up. But if we say no, it's not because your idea wasn't good. Maybe it wasn't good, but that might not be why. It might be because it won't fit with something else we're going to do later, or we've already done, or we don't have time, or we don't have the budget. Doesn't mean it's bad. Doesn't mean to stop giving input. It just means just no right now.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah. Gotcha. And kind of running low on time here, but real quick, do you prefer single camera, multiple cameras?
Multi-camera. I like to use 2 cameras, 3. The third camera kind of gets in the way, and the lighting of the third camera gets in the way. I like to shoot with 2 typically, just to maybe do a wider shot and then do some sort of detail close-up to kind of get more coverage done as much as possible.
Gotcha. And do you have a certain number of scenes that you say, man, there's no way we could get done more than 3 scenes in a day, 10 scenes in a day? It just depends on the complexity of the scenes, the number of cameras you've got, the lights you're working with.
Really, it's pages.
Pages.
It's like, how many pages are we shooting? And is there any action? Action's going to take longer than dialogue. It just is, because there's more shots typically.
Gotcha. All right. Any shout outs that you want to give to anybody here tonight?
Well, I mentioned a couple guys that I work with. I work with a team, a lot of people, same people over and over again. Everybody works very hard. They all take their job very serious. Been in this business a while, and I mean, that's it. You get in the business, and you just keep seeing the same people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially Florida. I always say it's such a small market. You run into the same people over and over again. And usually that's because they've done a good job someplace else and they just keep getting referred. Because, like you said, every now and then you're going to run into someone that brings up a great new idea or new philosophy or is wonderful, maybe transplanted from another state or new to the industry or something. But typically, it seems like, if you've got a Robert De Niro actor, he's always going to be Robert De Niro. And to try and find another De Niro out there is harder than I was just going with the one you already know. I mean, if you got him, why find another Robert when you already got the one?
Well, definitely, if you look at some popular films and popular actors, you will see that directors very, very often shoot with the same talent and the same technical crew. You can look at that with Quentin Tarantino. You can look at that with James Cameron. You can look at that with Martin Scorsese. You can look at that with Steven Spielberg. You start looking, it's like, okay, these guys are using the same people over and over and over again. It's because they feel comfortable with them and they got that secondhand language. I mean, it doesn't mean you can't break in.
Right.
That doesn't mean you can't build your own tribe, but it just takes time.
Yeah, kind of like what you were talking about with the formal education. You've got to find some way to find your group that you're going to work with, that you're going to get that familiarity with, and that you're going to grow together and look out for one another, right? Pull each other in on different things.
And I'd say this, I know this is for actors. I'd definitely say this. I know that actors have buddies that are actors, but they need to have some buddies that are filmmakers, because once you get in, they'll go, okay, I've got a part for you. I wrote this for you. You are who I have in mind. Your actor buddy's not going to say, I've got a part for you.
That's right. That's right. Because they're not in charge. They might get recommended. I actually had that happen with a friend, Bronson Buddha Taylor, who was in my film. Someone mentioned him, a producer mentioned him, mentioned a part. And I said, that sounds just like Bronson. And it ended up working out. Very rare, though. What I hear a lot more from my crew member friends is they are constantly doing a lot of recommending, whether it's producer or crew, we need a good sound guy. Oh, I know somebody. So that is definitely very true. Jeremiah, thank you so much for being in the studio with us tonight. I really appreciate it. I hope we will have you back in here another time. And a little bit of some housekeeping here before we go. The music's already coming up. All right, next week we're going to have Rob Riddell in the studio with us talking about more acting stuff and very exciting news. My movie, The Uncivil War, America Divided, looking right now to get it playing at the State Capitol Theater, hopefully, for cast and crew and public alike. And then I'll be announcing all the different theaters throughout Florida and Georgia where that'll be showing. In the meantime, folks, get on set. Have a great week.